Hello friends, I am Professor Monica Vich, teaching in Miranda House in the Department of Geography, University of Delhi. We'll continue with our topic of our earlier class where we talked about health beyond borders. In this particular section, we are talking about health care across the world, realizing the need that health is a basic human right, and in the post-globalization world, how global health has become a challenge, particularly the increasing number of pandemics. Post-COVID-19, we have seen that how health concerns rapidly spread throughout the world within days. Similarly, because of climatic change and various other natural disasters, emergency services are needed in a great extent. We did realize in the last class that there is a large amount of health disparities all across the world, which is very well reflected in terms of the life expectancy in years, as low as 30 years in some African nations to over 80 years in the more developed and economically well-off countries. These disparities in diseases they get further magnified in the marginalized and vulnerable population across different groups like gender, like age, disability, economic sections, and race and ethnicity. So when we are talking about global challenges or health beyond borders, we have to look into health concerns or health issues and challenges as one earth rather than divided between different nations and countries. Realizing this particular requirement, United Nations has taken several steps towards it, particularly the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG number 3, talks about health. There are various other SDGs which talk about education, about clean water, about reducing inequality, reducing poverty. All of these, they focus towards better healthcare services, healthcare availability to people. We do realize that there is health disparities in terms of diseases, but we also realize that there are disparities in the healthcare service accessibility and affordability. In order to bridge this gap of the disparities, there are several initiatives which have been taken up at the global level. These initiatives relate from financing these global initiatives for health to partnerships, to collaborations, to several missions, several philanthropic organizations which are coming forward to reduce health disparities, to increase the accessibility and the supply of medicines. So a lot is happening at all levels, at the national level, at international level, at community level, and at individual level. Today we take up another aspect of this health beyond borders, wherein we talk about medical tourism as a growing industry. When we talk about health accessibility across different countries, so medical tourism is growing in a large way, wherein India is also a party to it. It is contributing to the economic development to the host country, plus it is giving good health services to the guests who are coming from the other countries. So today we will talk about medical tourism from the perspective of global health. So medical tourism, if we see its definition, is the practice of traveling abroad in order to receive medical treatment. It is a term involving people who travel to a different place to receive treatment for a disease, for an ailment or a condition, which are seeking lower cost of care, higher quality of care, better access to care, or different care than they could receive at home. Now the question arises, why medical tourism? So we realize that healthcare and tourism industries are the fastest growing industries in the world. Medical tourism is being promoted as a fusion product of these industries, because tourism itself is a high infrastructure based industry. If a country, it is a smart model of economic development. If a country has invested enough in medical infrastructure, then they can use that particular medical infrastructure to multiply its economic profitability. Various countries like Thailand, Malaysia, India, etc. are promoting medical tourism aggressively. It has tremendously generated services and revenues across the globe, and numerous possibilities still remain unexplored. India has become the preferred destination for medical tourism. Patients from all across the world visit India to avail the benefits of treatment for various reasons. It is A, of course, the treatment is affordable. B, that the quality of care which is given in India because of its traditional culture is much better. It's a more compassionate culture. So the quality of care which is given is better. Access to care is more, and different care is given, like in the form of Ayurveda treatment. That is very cultural and very pertinent to India, which they cannot receive. The other patients from other countries cannot receive it. So India becomes a very preferred destination because it is serving patients or serving people who are coming to seek medical services at two ends. At the one end, it has the world-class facilities, and the second hand, it has excellent traditional Ayurvedic and naturopathy, yoga, and various other meditative and other techniques by which it can treat patients. The popular destinations for medical tourism all over the world, India tops it. The first number is India, Thailand, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Cuba, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Mexico, and Costa Rica. Largely, we realize that their countries are such which are from the middle income countries and have very strong traditional cultural traditions which lead to better care facilities. There are why India for medical tourism? Particularly because there are world-renowned medical experts who have been educated not only in India but have had excellent trainings and education and experience all over the world from the best of hospitals and best of doctors. It has the latest medical equipment. It has several accreditations which give a lot of confidence to the patients. It is definitely low cost, and it has several leisure trips associated with the traditional medicinal systems like Ayurveda, yoga, natural therapy centers. The healthcare tourism and the destination in India, we find that Asia Pacific tops in it. 47% of patients go to Asia Pacific, and that particular percent is constantly increasing from 2012 to 2020. Within India, there are certain states which are more favorable for medical tourism. The first which stands is Maharashtra. It has 28% of foreign visitors come to its hospitals. Tamil Nadu, next is Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh as a state, largely because its proximity to New Delhi, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Kerala, Bihar, Himachal because of its various spas and various Ayurvedic and natural centers, Goa again for its massage centers and various other therapeutic centers, and all other states, they contribute to roughly 9.7%. The major components for healthcare and medical tourism, of course, it's treatment of illnesses. Very significantly, reproduction or fertility treatments are very significant in India, for which people travel from all across the world. Then cosmetic surgeries is again a very significant portion of medical tourism in India, primarily because the staff which is giving those cosmetic surgeries are excellently trained. India has excellent health infrastructure, plus the post-surgery treatments and care is very well provided here. Besides that, wellness spas and alternate therapies are excellent in India. There are certain hospitals which are particularly known for medical tourism all over the world. Within those, certain hospitals which are primarily known are Escorts, Apollo Hospital, Max Healthcare System, Indraprasth Apollo Hospital, Hinduja Hospital, Jaslok Hospital, Fortis, Wockhardt. These hospitals particularly gain a large revenue from the foreign patients or the patients who are coming from other countries to take treatments, and they facilitate these patients in every possible way by setting up special reception centers wherein like for India, if we talk about Escorts or we talk about Apollo hospitals, there is a large number of patients who are coming from Afghanistan and Bangladesh, and we realize right in the at the outset, at the reception itself, there is a separate reception for Afghani citizens seeking treatment, and there you would find support staff which are speaking their language and helping and facilitating them. So these hospitals are really capitalizing by facilitating the patients from across from different countries and thereby increasing their business. So the patients have a large sense of satisfaction that helps in promoting medical tourism. If we look at the SWOT approach, we find that we can see that in what way, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats which are operating in Indian environment for an effective strategy to promote medical tourism. If we talk about the strengths, the quality and range of services is very good, affordable cost, vast supply of qualified doctors, strong presence in advanced healthcare, international reputation of hospitals and doctors, diversity of tourism destinations and experiences, as we said, right from alternative therapies to yoga, meditation, resorts, to excellent surgeries, AI supported surgeries, robotic surgeries, everything is there. So there's diversity of experiences. Opportunities, then we talk about strength and weaknesses. A weakness is an inherent limitation. So we find no strong government support or initiate to promote medical tourism. We realize that the list of hospitals which we have seen, it is the private initiative by these private hospitals. Government is not providing that much support for medical tourism. There is low coordination between various players in the industry, particularly like airline operators, hotels and hospitals. Third, there is lack of uniform pricing policies across hospitals. Certain hospitals are extremely expensive, others are low in cost, but sometimes the hospitals which are low in cost might not have very good services. Then there is a lot of customer perception which goes on, and this customer perception particularly gets based on the hygienic conditions in a particular hospital or in the country as a whole. And then there are political problems, there is instability, there are conflicts, there is violence, disturbances which lead to problems. Number 3 comes opportunities. So an opportunity is a favorable condition in this particular service industry, and we find that the biggest opportunity is in terms of the increased demand for healthcare services from countries with aging population. So the countries where population is on a declining trend, there is large number of aged population which does not have enough caregivers in their countries. They like to visit India because India has a young population and India has a large number of people who are into healthcare services. So opportunity is in terms of tapping this particular opportunity wherein you can attract healthcare seekers from the countries with fast aging population or population deteriorating countries which are going into negative. Second is fast-paced lifestyle increases demand for wellness tourism and alternative cures. Shortage of supply. Third is shortage of supply in national health systems in countries like UK and Canada. Very often these countries report a failure of public funded hospitals or government hospitals, which makes hospital treatment extremely expensive. Number 4, demand from countries with underdeveloped healthcare services, as we find that from Afghanistan or from various countries from Africa, from Bangladesh, from our neighboring countries, we find large number of patients coming to our hospitals, to the Indian hospitals, largely because they do not have enough developed healthcare facilities. Another opportunity, number 5, is demand for retirement homes for elderly people, including the Japanese. As I said earlier, there are certain countries which are facing negative population growth. In these countries, the number of dependent population, senior citizens, has increased far beyond the number of working population. And countries like Japan, where there is shortage of land, old age homes cannot be built or retirement homes becomes extremely expensive. In such situations, retirement homes and old age homes are becoming a popular business in India, where they give good services, medical support, and give a lot of relief to the senior citizens. The next important opportunity is in terms of the personal touch by the doctors in India. As I had said earlier, the traditional and conventional type of methods within India, they give a lot of personal touch to the patients, talking in a good way, in a soothing language, soothing tone, that helps the patients to a great extent. The location of India is such that the airlines system or airline traffic system is well developed, and it is easy to go from one country to the other. Medicines, next opportunities in terms of the medicines and labs, our costs are low as compared to other developed countries, but definitely there are certain threats. A threat is an unfavorable condition. The threat number one is with regard to the strong competition from countries like Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore. These countries also have the similar kind of strengths and as India has. They also face similar kind of opportunities. They are aware of the similar kind of opportunities as India, and they want to maximize on it. So the biggest threat is from the strong competitive countries like Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore. Number two threat is lack of international accreditation. This is a major inhibitor. There is large number of accreditation in India at the national level, but for international accreditation, India still has to, healthcare services in India have to still strive ahead. Number three is the insurance coverage. The overseas medical care in India is not covered mostly by the insurance providers. That sometimes becomes a deterrent. So probably the insurance sector within India will have to work towards it, that how they can collaborate with the international insurance providers, so that more and more people are keen to come to India for medical treatments. Number four is underinvestment in healthcare infrastructure. There is government infrastructure or there is very limited private investment into health infrastructure. It can increase to a greater level. The next threat is in terms of the exploitation of the tourists by illegal money changers. Exploitation, sometimes the outside patients or outside country patients feel exploited. Next is terrorism and conflicts, and the rise of resistant strains in India, primarily because of large population and the population which is living in slightly difficult conditions in terms of sanitation and hygienic conditions. So there are consistent rise of resistant strains within India, which are a major threat to medical tourism. So this SWOT approach is extremely essential to assess that in what direction medical tourism is operational in India and what can be done within Indian environment so that an effective strategy can be formulated so that it helps the country economically, and of course it promotes medical facilities all across the world. In promoting medical tourism, there is a significant role of the government. The government has to primarily act as a tourism facilitator. It can do that by various ways. Number one could be reduce hassles in visa processes. So visa on arrival, it can be extended to various other countries, or it can be extended case by case for patients who are coming for medical tourism. Maybe the visa can be given in a more easier way. So that is one aspect wherein government can act as a tourism facilitator. Second is follow an open sky policy to increase the inflow of flights into India. Of course, India is in the process of building several newer airports, international airports, like Delhi in particular has only one, but now coming up with another airport because the demand for air traffic has increased immensely, both domestic as well as international. So an open sky policy to be followed so that the inflow of flights can be increased. Number three, create medical attaches to Indian embassies that promote health services to the prospective Indian visitor. There was a time when cultural festivals of India were held all over the country, all over the world in different countries, wherein Indian embassies exhibited that how rich Indian tradition and culture is. Similarly, we can introduce medical attaches to the Indian embassies, wherein they can promote medical tourism to a greater level and tell the population of that particular country where the embassy is located that they can visit India for medical tourism. There is besides the government role, there is a significant role by the private sector. Increased participation in building infrastructure, putting in larger private money for building better hospitals, integrate them horizontally, that is you build a hospital, also build a medical college, so that there is and also build up a nursing college, so that there is large number of supply of trained manpower to the hospitals. Similarly, there can be various joint ventures and joint alliances, as I just talked earlier, that one of the biggest threats is that biggest weakness is that the medical tourism in India does not have enough international accreditation and is not linked with international insurance agencies. So, the private sector can play a significant role, wherein it can sign joint ventures and can sign joint alliances, wherein the people from abroad who are coming to seek medical treatment here can get the insurance, international insurance, and are also satisfied that there is enough international accreditation to the treatment which they are taking. If we think about the role of government within India, we find that the role of Indian government for success in medical tourism is twofold. Number one, the government of India acts as a regulator to institute a uniform grading and accreditation system for hospitals to build consumers' trust. It is because of the government acting as a regulator that the institutions and the hospitals do not fall into wrong practices, unethical practices. So, that grading system is there which instills faith in those hospitals and medical tourism. Secondly, the government of India acts as a facilitator for encouraging private investment in medical infrastructure and policy making for improving medical tourism. Besides this, there is investment facilitator. So, Government of India recognizes healthcare as an infrastructure sector and extends the benefit under section 81A of the IT Act. So, people who are investing money in setting up hospitals or educational or medical educational institutions, they get due coverage by the Income Tax Act. The Government of India is also actively promoting FDIs, foreign direct investment in healthcare sector, in terms of joint collaborative hospitals. So, there are hospitals which in collaboration with US agencies, with Japan, various other countries where healthcare facilities are of a higher level. Government of India also provides low interest rate loans. It reduces the import duty for medical equipments and the excise duty. Then it also facilitates clearances and certifications, which helps in better services and it helps in better healthcare access to people. So, government's role becomes more significant, that tourism can be promoted only when the government is giving a lot of emphasis into it. Government should also bring in banking and insurance sector to a greater level, so that their role increases. The UPI mode of payment has also helped to a great extent, wherein digital transfers of money has facilitated this medical tourism. So, ever since digital medicine, digital financial gateways have come up, medical tourism has further increased. The prevalence of the OTT platforms have also increased, helped in increasing medical tourism, because these movies and documentaries which are aired on Netflix and various other OTT platforms, they are available all over the world, and people, the awareness is generated about India's alternative therapies and other treatments, which helps in getting more patients from other countries. In conclusion, we can say that for medical tourism is appealing to anyone who is interested in high quality healthcare at an affordable rate. The medical tourism phenomena is gaining popularity, and the number of people going abroad for treatment increases rapidly every year. With many medical tourism benefits, advancements in technology and improvements in healthcare standards, particularly in the developing countries, the number of tourists coming for medical facilities is increasing globally. It is likely that the advantages of medical tourism will provide a striking economic solution to many healthcare problems. So thus, dear friends, in this particular section, we have covered in great detail about health beyond borders. We've tried to see that what role do international agencies play in providing access to better healthcare services. We also looked at that how people are looking towards global healthcare in terms of going for medical tourism to other countries, or becoming a volunteer in poorer countries, or providing consultations through telemedicine or digital health. There are several philanthropic initiatives by several bigger business houses which are helping in global health, and the world looks more hopeful. We are all hopeful that we will take health as a basic human right and do everything possible in this globalized world to give better healthcare services to everyone. Thank you.